Human beings are asleep, and when they die, they wake up. This observation, attributed to the 7th century figure Ali ibn Abi Talib, suggests that our current experience of reality is less a waking life and more a profound state of unconsciousness. We focus our attention on what we might call content, our biology, our bank accounts, our social status. Yet, despite optimizing these physical metrics, a sense of emptiness often remains. We are treating a temporary simulation as our primary reality. The Quran identifies this state using the term ghurur, or deception. It frames the material world as a theater of mirrors, a construct designed to test our perception and see if we can look past the surface. In Surah Al-Hadid and Al-An'am, the text describes worldly life as a play and amusement. These verses conclude with a specific challenge: will you not then use your intellect? This implies that seeing through the play requires an active cognitive effort. If the physical world functions like a dream, it forces us to identify the dreamer. We have to ask what part of us exists outside the script of this daily amusement. The Quranic call to use your intellect suggests that the human task is to achieve this clarity before the dream ends. The objective is to trigger the waking process while the body is still active, rather than waiting for death to force the perspective. Mapping this awakening requires us to define what a human being actually consists of, once we look past the flesh and brain chemistry. Islamic tradition introduces the Rooh, or spirit. This is described as a highly specific energy source that originates directly from the Creator. It is an element that exists beyond the logic of the material world. Surah Sa'd and Al-Isra describe a dual composition. The human body is formed from terrestrial dirt, dense physical matter, but that matter is then infused with the Ruh. We are a hybrid of the earth and a divine cosmic breath. This duality places humanity at the exact intersection of two worlds. We function as a bridge, linking the observable physical universe to a hidden spiritual dimension. Surah Qaf describes the process of awakening as the removal of a veil. Our worldly biases and ego-driven desires act as a film over our eyes. Evolving our consciousness involves the systematic stripping away of these distractions to see reality as it truly is. When this veil is removed, the Ruh remembers its origin. It detaches its identity from the temporary physical avatar and reconnects with the source of its consciousness. This transition is rarely a sudden event. It is a progressive, often difficult psychological climb. This progression is mapped through the Nafs, or the self. This framework identifies 7 distinct stages of human consciousness, each representing a higher level of awareness. At the baseline, a person is a hostage to their ego. This state is defined by reactive behavior, responding blindly to material cravings and the need for external validation. Moving up the ladder requires developing the observer mind. You learn to watch your own thoughts and impulses without being controlled by them. The rings stabilize as the internal chaos is replaced by a steady, objective awareness. We see this internal struggle reflected in historical traditions like the Sufi dervishes. Their physical practice centers on surrendering the ego. They use motion and focus to quiet the reactive self and reach a higher frequency of consciousness. The final goal of this psychological ladder is the total exhaustion of the ego. When the ego no longer demands control, the consciousness is free to move towards its final destination. A fully evolved consciousness is characterized by its internal state rather than external displays of power or magic. This state is called Nafs al-Mutma'ina, the reassured or tranquil soul. It is a condition of absolute internal stillness. A person in this state remains stable and centered, regardless of the chaos or change happening in the world around them. Surah Al-Fajr describes the universe welcoming this tranquil consciousness back to its source. It is a moment of total satisfaction, where the individual observer and the divine origin are finally in perfect alignment. This evolution shifts the context of our existence. We stop viewing ourselves as a temporary physical body and start identifying as the eternal observer within. The Quranic path suggests that the eyes of the spirit can be opened here and now. The ultimate awakening is the act of remembering who we have been since the beginning.